This is Olga from the Toy Dolls.
This is Ronan, the Toy Dolls biographer. Welcome to the Toy Dolls LPs.
When it's a bare-faced cheek, it's a two, it's a two. Oh, I make a skinny freak. It's a three, it's a three. It's a bare-faced cheek, it's a two, it's a two.
Okay, Olga, 1987, and we're on to the fourth album, Barefaced Cheek, this time.
That's right.
We're back to the northeast for this album, and teaming up again with Terry Gallagher. This time at Impulse Studios in Wallsend. So what was the reasoning behind the choice of Impulse?
Yeah. I think, again, it wasn't the choice of the studio. It's because that album was on a record label called Nit Records, which is a subsidiary of Neat Records. And they own the studio. So we recorded...
so that made sense, yeah.
Yeah, we recorded this with Keith Nichol, was engineering in the studio in Wallsend in Impulse Studios, which is above a bingo hall.
Yeah, as you'd expect.
Yeah, exactly.
It's rock and roll personified that. Yeah. And can you tell us something, and mention that moving on to Nit Records there, this meant you'd had a separation from Volume, which you'd done quite a few. Yeah. Well, you'd done albums and single releases of various types up to the point. How was the separation? How was the split from them? Was it okay?
I can't remember, so long ago. I can't really remember what happened. Maybe it's something to do with me being a control freak or something.
I couldn't possibly comment.
But
maybe it just reached its natural...
maybe. I can't remember. It's a bit sad though, you know. I mean, I really like the people from Don and Andy from Volume, and I'd like to see them again, if possible.
Yeah. On to a happier subject, this album saw Marty join the band.
Yeah.
Beginning a long period on drums with the band, a very, very stable time in drumming terms. Now, I know you've got a lot of fond memories of working with Marty, especially in the live setting. Can you tell us, people will be interested to know, what was it about Marty that was made him such an important member of the band at that time?
I think Marty's a gem. He really, really is. I think what did help, his girlfriend was selling the merchandise at the time, so they were both together all the time. So that helped being on the road a long time. I think he would just listen, you know, and I could get him to do exactly what I wanted him to do, you know, back to being a control freak. And he was really, especially good at doing the 8 beats to the bar.
Yeah, very fast on that one.
Yeah, he was really, really good at that. And he kept everything really precise. And he's a gentleman.
Yeah. Nice fella.
Yeah.
Nice fella, yeah. You've referred to once or twice before about taking a long time to write this album. And I wondered whether you might have taken too long. Was this about indecision, or too many ideas, or not enough idees?
I don't know what album we're talking about. Was this Barefaced Cheek?
Barefaced Cheek one, yeah.
I think at the time I was I'd moved to this council flat, and it was really, really difficult to write an album in this tiny little one-bedroom shoebox, squashed up right against the bed, and I don't know, it's like we're not robots, you know. I think if things would just come naturally, it would be great to be a songwriter.
Yeah,
you know,
but there are times when you're just not in a comfortable place, and you know,
for whatever reason, and sometimes a song can take forever to write, and then when it's finished, it's one of the worst you've ever written.
Yeah,
you know, and it was just a really, really tough time, especially for the writing.
Yeah, it must have been an awful moment when your guitar became unusable during the recording of Barefaced Cheek, and you had to use the engineer's guitar with a pedal. Yeah. Can you say a few words, I'm thinking technically here, about the difficulties of using a guitar you're not familiar with?
I mean, this particular guitar, well, apart from the sound, you know, which is the main thing, the thickness of the neck, the height of the strings, and the frets and everything on it, I don't know what it was. It was some kind of Squire Stratocaster, I think, or something like that. And it didn't sound like I wanted it to sound, which cramps your style immediately, so you don't play like you're supposed to.
It brings your mood down, because you
really, really
do tend to stick to the same guitars religiously, don't you, over the years?
And I think it's part you know, the guitar is like a violin or something. Your whole feeling comes out in that violin or in the guitar, and with somebody else's, which might be a fine guitar for them, it didn't work for me. and it just felt really uncomfortable the whole session. I can even feel uncomfortable now thinking about it.
Talking about it, yeah, okay. You've reported yourself as being in quite a dark place emotionally at this time, and you've made reference to that now, and it was because of shall we say, a difficult girlfriend at this point.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, how much influence can that have if your life's quite dark on the song production? You know, the production. I mean, the writing of songs and.
I mean, in a positive way. I mean, it didn't help until 2 or 3 albums after then, because a lot of the songs like "My Wife's a Psychopath" and all that kind of thing, which were written on a much later album than that one, were because of this particular girl at that time. But at the time, I was so depressed, I wasn't really interested in writing anything, anything decent anyway. But I think it can have a really positive effect on you. To be honest, it's in a good way.
It inspires you creatively, even though it's a negative.
Yeah, because it gets it. It's like you're throwing up. You're getting rid of all the vomit. You know, it's kind of. But it's coming out. It's coming out.
That's an image that'll stay with me all day now.
All right.
Okay. Another of the classic traits in your songwriting is the inclusion of celebrities who might have been in the news. We mentioned soap opera characters earlier in our discussion. Maybe for some kind of scandal, or just people you've seen in the film or on the news. Now, Yul Brynner was a skinhead. There's a great song in this category. How did Yul Brynner come about?
Well, I mean, most of the audiences at the time were skinheads at that time. It was like mid-80s, the kind of time. It's changed a lot now. There's a really wide cross-section, but at that time, I was 90% skinheads. And I just remember watching the film, The King and I, with Yul Brynner on, and I thought, oh, there's a skinhead there. He just looks like one of our audience, you know. And I just put, I started to write
nice little rhymes. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And meanwhile, also thinking about celebrities, A. Diamond is very careful not to be too explicit in accurately naming the celebrity.
Yeah.
The spelling of Tommy Cowie's car with a K is another example of this. How conscious have you been over the years of the danger of libel?
In the beginning, not at all. In fact, I'd rather sing a song with and put the correct spelling on, even if the song's not as good. The most important thing was getting the real name and the real surname.
Integrity again, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like going back to the Fisticuffs and Frederick Street thing. You know, I mentioned there was this club, Foster's Club, which isn't there now. They hadn't even heard the song, and somebody told them about it, and they said that you might really get some money for this, because they said you get your head kicked in if you go to Foster's Club. So since then, been really conscious of it, to be honest.
That's it, yeah. On the same song, A. Diamond, there's some really funny rhymes, in my opinion. We've talked about this before. Fans that really used to spoil it, and a dodgy boiler. How much do you agonise over the crafting of lyrics in this way? What's the process for your lyrics?
I think the most important thing regarding lyrics is, the song is the actual melody. But it's really nice to try and spend your time and write really quality lyrics, even though they might be witty and kind of humorous and sound like they're written in 2 seconds. It's very easy to write bad lyrics. So I think it's one of the most. Sometimes I spend weeks and months even on certain lyrics. But I think it's very, very important to me, and especially for English-speaking countries like America and England, and lots of the world speaks English now anyway. But I think it's very important. The melody is paramount, but for me, next is the lyrics. Right?
The lyrics, right? Okay. There's a fan question come in, which is asking if you could remix or re-record any 2 rather than 1, any 2 of your albums. Which 2 would you choose?
Well, I wouldn't bother remixing that Barefaced Cheat one because the song's not good enough, but I would definitely remix the Idle Gossip. And I wouldn't touch the first one because you're going to lose the magic of it. I would think, Idle Gossip and maybe the second one.
Okay. Maybe a far out disc as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much. And final question. We've mentioned once or twice way back in chats about Sunderland realism, talking about real life in Sunderland in the songs, and particularly on this album you've got Park Lane Punch Up, the Ashbrook Laundrettes, Now It Could Compare to Sunderland Fine Fair. And Fisticuffs in Frederick Street. Now you've just mentioned about the legal situation with that.
Yeah.
But I wondered, it's been on the back of a single. You used it when you were last playing in Durham. I remember the sound check in the afternoon. I was walking across a bridge in Durham, nice and quiet, and suddenly, brang, that's all you could hear. That's the song you sound checked with.
Yeah.
How do you think the song stands up after all these years?
Fisticuffs. It's funny, we haven't played that for about 5 years now, and we're all thinking about playing it again. I like it. I mean, it's influenced. It's a punk song, heavily influenced by like the Skids and the bands of that era. And I like to think we can still play it, and sounds like it's come from like a recent.
I always liked it, I must say. Yeah. Okay, Olga, thanks very much for talking to me about.
Thank you, Ronan. Thank you.
You got me out of my head, cause I'm not okay. You're driving me insane, cause I'm not funky. When it's a bare-faced cheek, it's a cheek. Oh, I make you skinny free. It's a bare-faced cheek, it's a cheek. You say I'm a skinny punk and you call me a cheeky monkey.